Okay, we'll get started. So as usual, we'll start off today's class with a few organizational things. We'll start off today's class with a few organizational things. One, people have been asking about the experimental participation. You're required to participate in one experiment or other social psychological study. It may not be an experiment you participate in. And there's going to be an announcement on BSpace soon about that, probably the next 3 or 4 days. That first announcement will offer a bunch of slots you can sign up for. Not enough to cover the 450 to 500 of us in this room. So what you may find is that when you go to sign up that you won't actually be able to get in, but that's okay because there'll be more slots. There will definitely be enough slots put out over the course of the semester for you to get in. So if you don't get in straight away, that's okay. You will eventually. Okay, but look for that in the next few days. Okay, if we could be a little quieter. Thank you. Okay, getting into the class. For those of you who haven't quite gotten into class or whatever, you're interested in the details on that. I didn't go into this on Tuesday, but we're done taking attendance, so no more attendance. The only way in which we'll be enforced to be here are occasional quizzes and just the love of learning, which should hopefully keep you all coming back. So we're done force dropping people based on attendance. We can't even do it anymore. So at this point, it's up to you to drop. So if you're not keeping up with the assignments, if you're not showing up for class, then you're probably not here to hear this, but whatever, you should consider dropping to open up a spot for somebody else so they can get into the class. So if you're not into it, go ahead and drop, and we'll get somebody in who is into it. And then we'll continue to add people to the class based on attendance and records of turning in assignments and stuff like that. We'll probably downweight attendance since that data is pretty old now, and mostly look at just are you turning in assignments, and of course order on the wait list, and the sociology priority system, and it's extraordinarily complicated when you get into the class, basically. Are there any questions about this? Questions? Okay, so no more drops, but we will continue to add, so keep turning in your assignments if you want to get into the class. Okay, people asked about the conflict essay assignment and how you will get this back. You will get this back. It will come back to you at the end of today's class. We spent a long time trying to figure out a way to get it back to you. We have to give back the first assignment physically because of details of sociology department rules. So I don't know why that is, but the first assignment has to be given. You have to have the actual copy back. We didn't want to leave it in a Dropbox because then your very personal conflict story would be public for all to see. I know maybe for some of you though that's an issue, and we're respectful of that. So what we'll do is we'll hand it back to you individually outside, out there. God, I hope it doesn't rain. Okay, we'll hand it back to you outside in front of Valley out that way. So we'll have 4 readers who will hand it back, and I'll tell you at the break probably halfway through this class, who your reader is, because your name will correspond to some reader who will hand it back to you, who may or may not have actually read your paper. Yes, ma'am. It will be when the class ends. It might be a little bit before if we end early, which is I think likely. Yeah. Okay, so next Thursday evening, not today, but next Thursday evening will be the Cool Hand Luke film showing. It will either be here or in Wheeler. It will be at 5 p.m. You'll be able to see Paul Newman in all of his muscled mid-60s glory. I know you're all very excited about this, but if you can't make the showing, we don't know where it is yet. We haven't finished getting the room reserved, but if you can't make a showing, you can rent it. You can, I don't know, maybe it's available other ways that stuff I don't even know about. You all know about technologies you've invented. I don't even know. I have an old VHS tape of it. Do you want that? An old reel-to-reel? You don't even know what that is. Okay. But anyway, yeah, so we show Cool Hand Luke next Thursday at 5 p.m. either here or in Wheeler. Please turn out for that so you can know what's going on, because we'll be writing an essay on the Cool Hand Luke film. Before that showing, I'll give you some preview about what the essay assignment is so you'll know how to watch it. You'll know what to look for as you watch this. You won't just look at Paul Newman the whole time. Okay, so any questions about that? Any questions about Cool Hand Luke? Awesome film. You're going to like it a lot. Okay. The primetime live special with the Milgram replication, we put that on reserve at the Media Resource Center. It may not be there yet. It might be in process still. But if you miss that, you'll be able to see it there. And again, it's possible you'll be able to find this through some other form of technology that I don't even know about, like the interweb or the, yeah. Okay. Let's talk. All right, so today we'll be extending the conformity part of the class. We'll be talking more about conformity. And today and next Tuesday and then again next Thursday, we're going to be kind of covering the selected topics in conformity. So today we'll be talking about groupthink and breaching, which are themselves not particularly related to each other. They're just kind of special topics in conformity. And then on Tuesday, we'll talk about unpopular norms and pluralistic ignorance. The reading for pluralistic ignorance is a really good one. I suggest you read it very closely because I love it and I'm very likely to ask many questions about it on the exam. And then on, what do we get even? Okay, well anyway, then bystander non-intervention will be next Thursday. We might go a little fast and end up covering these a little bit faster than that because next Thursday we also want to do a review for the first exam. So you all are ready. I know. It's terrible. It's going to be an exam here. I know. I thought it was going to be fun. It's going to be the most fun exam you've ever taken. Okay, so today, first we're going to talk about groupthink. And groupthink is a conformity-related concept. Let's talk on the front row there, please. Thank you. Groupthink is a conformity-related concept that was invented by Irving Janis. Or it was maybe said, I think, in an interview by some other social psychologist, but Irving Janis is the leading theorist of groupthink. He wrote a book in 1972 called Victims of Groupthink, where he talked about the following dynamic. And here's Janis' definition of groupthink. He defines it as a way of deliberating that group members use when their desire for unanimity overrides their motivation to assess all available plans of action. That's maybe a little bit confusing, so I made a different definition for the purpose of the class, which I think is a little clearer, which is the tendency of groups to make poor decisions when desires for unanimity outweigh careful, informed decision-making. Okay, so when would this happen? Well, okay, so this is supposedly common in committee situations, especially when you have a big autocratic or authoritarian boss who everybody obeys too much. And this little cartoon, and this is a very funny, you're all laughing, I understand why, it's a very funny cartoon. This cartoon is supposed to sort of give you a sense of how groupthink works, okay? Here the boss says, here we go. The boss says, all those in favor say aye, and everybody says aye. But what are they thinking? They're thinking, oh God, say it isn't so. You gotta be kidding. Perish the thought, heaven forbid. In their heads, they're thinking, this is a really bad idea. We shouldn't do this as a group. But for some reason, they all go along with the group decision. So groupthink is a situation where groups fail to mobilize the best information that they have, information. Like, can you all stop talking there, too? Information these people have in their heads, they're not saying it, and they'd be able to make a better decision if they did. So let's talk about this in more detail. A great example, perhaps the most discussed example of groupthink is the Challenger disaster. Most of you probably aren't old enough to remember the Challenger disaster, but I was 9 years old or 8 years old when the Challenger disaster happened. And well, what was unique about the Challenger shuttle mission, this NASA mission? Yes. There was a teacher on board. What was her name? That's what you don't have to know. That was pretty good right there. Nice, Kristen McAuliffe, very good. Okay, there was a teacher on board, and it was this kind of funky thing that NASA was going to do to try and make you feel more connected to the space program. They were going to put a regular civilian, a normal citizen like ourselves, on the space shuttle, and then we would feel more connected to NASA or something. I don't totally understand the purpose of this, but we were, I was like in a public school, I was in elementary school, and I was told, wow, like a real teacher, like your teacher, is going up in the shuttle. This is going to be awesome. And indeed, me and all of my fourth grade friends, we were gathered around. We were supposed to watch the Challenger take off and head into space. And what happened? Well, what happened was it exploded, and it was a horrible, horrible disaster, and really all of America was watching. In a lot of ways, because of this whole take a civilian into space thing, it was one of the most watched shuttle. Please don't talk. You can eat, but don't talk. You can all of you eat, but don't talk. It was one of the most watched shuttle missions in, since 1969. We went to the moon. It was a big thing. Everybody was watching, and it all went terribly wrong. So what they did, what the federal government always does in situations like this, they put together a commission to investigate what the hell went wrong. Because all America was sort of like, wow, we had gotten used to all these space missions working, and then all of a sudden this one went terribly wrong. So what they did is they put together this blue ribbon panel, a whole bunch of very famous people. This retired Air Force general, Chuck Yeager, the guy who broke the sound barrier. Or no, he didn't. He was like the second guy to break the sound barrier. Anyway, oh no, he was the first guy. Okay. So Chuck Yeager was on it, and then this guy we talked about earlier in the class, Richard Feynman, was on it, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist who came up earlier. Do you remember when? Does anybody remember when? Okay, it was in the philosophy of science part of the first lecture. He's the guy that defines science as the bending over backwards to prove yourself wrong. And that quote gives you some kind of insight into what sort of guy Richard Feynman was. He was just this relentless skeptic. He was a physicist, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist at Caltech, and his distinctive feature was this sort of playful mind that he had. He was very skeptical, and he was always causing trouble. He wrote a couple popular books that were really big in the 80s, including Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, and What the Hell Do You Care What Other People Think? Anyway, big hero of mine. This guy was awesome. You should read his books. They're a lot of fun. So Feynman wasn't going to take the role on the commission. He was like, look, I'm not a bureaucrat. I don't like to do this. I'd like rather work on some physics and get some work done. And his wife told him, you know what's going to happen is they're going to put together this commission. They're going to get a bunch of yes men on this commission. It's going to look like that, right? And they're going to make a bad decision. They're not going to really evaluate what happened. She was basically saying that as they investigate this NASA groupthink phenomenon, the committee itself, the commission itself, is going to itself exhibit groupthink. And Feynman's like, okay, maybe you're right. And she was like, if you go, you're going to mix stuff up, and maybe will find out the truth. So that's what happened. Feynman took the role, and he joined the commission. And pretty quickly it became clear why the Challenger shuttle had blown up. What had happened was the O-rings on the booster rockets, those big rockets that they use to get out of the Earth's atmosphere, which then fall off and go into the ocean somewhere, they had been poorly sealed for some reason. And this, a little bit of fluid, or the booster rocket fuel came out, lit fire, and destabilized the booster rockets, and then the whole thing caught fire. What Feynman wanted to know was why. And he did a bunch of research. And as it turned out, what was happening was a bunch of people in NASA who knew exactly why would feed him information and kind of lead him along the trail because they wanted somebody to figure this out and fix it, but they were afraid to stand up and be whistleblowers. So Feynman was gathering this evidence, he was being fed this evidence by scientists and engineers who were uncomfortable with the situation. And what he found out was that the O-rings, the rubber O-rings, these rings that connect or seal the different parts of these booster rockets, because they don't make them in whole, you can't, there's no factory big enough to make an entire booster rocket just in one piece. They're in a bunch of different pieces. They have O-rings, rubber O-rings in between, which are meant to seal it so that stuff doesn't get out like that. But what the problem was that at very low temperatures, these O-rings didn't work well. The rubber got really stiff and rigid, and they couldn't survive things like wind hit the booster rockets, hit the shuttle, shake the booster rocket, and all of a sudden the seal would break. If they were, like a fluidy sort of rubber, if they were less rigid, no problem. But in cold temperatures, they would get very rigid, and they wouldn't seal properly. So engineers had said, look, you can't do shuttle launches at low temperatures. Things will go terribly wrong, and the thing might explode. The O-rings won't work. So they had this on file that you can't launch at these sort of temperatures. But NASA, the higher ups that had to make the decision to go with a launch or not, were under a lot of pressure. There was a launch window. There was a certain frame of time they had to launch in. They had all media set up to cover the Chris McAuliffe stuff. Supposedly George Bush Sr., who was vice president at the time, was going to be there. There was all these pressures to launch on time. And so what they did was they made the decision to launch on a very cold morning in Florida, and it was a horrible mistake. And then they tried to not cover it up, but not make it easy to figure out. So Feynman went poking around, and he figured out this was the problem. The O-rings was too cold. The O-rings would work right, which meant that the integrity of the booster rockets was violated, and that's where the explosion happened. It's not exactly an explosion, but whatever. And he went back to the commission and he said, this is what happened. This is what happened. They had the information, but they didn't mobilize it to make a right decision at group level. It was a groupthink phenomenon. And the commission, again, is made up of yes men, or at least the head of the commission was sort of one of these yes men, right? It was like, well, okay, we'll put that in the final report, but, let's hold that off for this next press conference. Let's just say we're working on it. We don't know what the answer is. And Feynman's like, no, we know what the answer is. It's over. Case closed. I know what happened, And the guy's like, well, we don't want to ruffle any feathers here. And Feynman's like, what are you talking about? So they go to this press conference, and the head of the commission goes and says, well, we're not exactly sure what's happening. And Feynman is sitting there, and they're distributing a sample of the O-ring rubber. And Feynman takes it, and he's told a couple journalists he's going to do this. He takes it, drops it in his ice water. They're all sitting up there, this blue ribbon panel. Drops it in the ice water, gets it really cold, takes out a hammer that he brought with him, and then breaks it, and it just shatters into pieces. And the Assembly or national media goes bananas. They start taking pictures, and they're like, screw the head of the commission. We don't care about you anymore. Like, Feynman, what's going on? You gotta tell us, And so that's how he decided to just break through the dynamic and just be like, look, I know the truth. This is the truth, and this is what happened. So Feynman is badass. That's the point of the story. But the point is that they had the information. The engineers and the scientists that had designed the booster rockets knew exactly what would happen at cold temperatures, and they knew it was a failure. That they shouldn't launch on that day, and it might be a disaster. It was a high-risk launch. And people had to make the decisions, just didn't. They had that information, but they didn't mobilize it. They were under a lot of pressure, and it was classic, perhaps the classic groupthink outcome. So what is groupthink? I've given you the definition, but how can you know what it looks like? How could you know if you're in a situation that it was a groupthink type situation, that the group you're in might make a bad decision or even a terrible decision, like NASA did when they went ahead with the decision to launch the Challenger? Any questions about this Challenger example? Okay, cool. All right, so what are some symptoms that you're in a group with groupthink? One, an illusion of invulnerability. Classic example with NASA, right? They hadn't had any significant problems since the Apollo 13 mission, and before that, they didn't have any fatalities associated with any sort of space mission since I think 1966, the Apollo 1 mission that had Gus Grissom, and the liquid oxygen caught fire before it even launched, and Virgil I. Gus Grissom and 2 others died on the launch pad before they even took off. But they had tons and tons of successful missions. In general, everything had worked fine. And in fact, NASA was in some ways considered to be the most respected part of the U.S. federal government because they took us to the moon. They did spacewalks. They did crazy shit. No one ever thought would ever be able to. I still can't believe any of that happened. So in illusion of invulnerability, when a group thinks it's invulnerable, it'll be less likely to really carefully, skeptically evaluate the decisions that it's making. Also, unwavering belief in the morality and/or competence of the group. When you think that you're right, either right in a moral sense or right in a factual sense, you don't, again, tend to be sufficiently skeptical about the decision-making your group is doing. By the way, these are straight out of Janus 1972. So if they seem a little redundant, blame Janus, not me. Collective rationalizing of group decisions. Groups that tend to do this, they tend to not look at the faults of the group, not look for where they might be wrong, but instead try to rationalize everything that the group does, are headed for failure. And indeed, maybe they should listen to Ice Cube. Shared stereotypes about the outgroup. This comes up when groups are in competition, like when countries go to war and armies are going up against each other, or examples like that. Where groups are in competition, firms, maybe in a market, when you have shared stereotypes about the outgroup, that can also propel groupthink. When you think, oh, everybody on that side is incompetent and dumb, and we all know that, then you can underestimate your opponent and fall into the traps. We'll talk about a couple examples of that. When group members withhold criticism. This is essentially, I don't know why Janice said this 3 times, but this and that are all relatively similar. But this is a specific thing where groupthink is especially likely where group members are afraid to criticize the group or its members. So if you're in a group and you're afraid to speak out and say, wait, I think that the shuttle, I'm pretty sure that these O-rings are not going to maintain their viability in its launch. If you're afraid to say anything, then nobody might say anything, and nobody says anything, then a terrible disaster might happen, a bad group decision. Yes, sir, question? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think I understand your question. So isn't this, well, I think it's an artifact, to answer your question, I think it's an artifact of individual and group dynamics. I think it's, on the one hand, people are afraid to speak out because of basic conformity pressures, like the Ash study. But sometimes what can happen is when everybody's afraid to speak out, weirdly, you won't mobilize information that in fact everybody knows. And this diagram, I mean, in some ways, this diagram is like the big thing to pay attention to today, because it really covers groupthink really well. This is a classic scenario where groupthink might happen. Is somebody suggests an idea, they're just throwing it out there, or maybe they're just one person that just has a bad idea. It's a bad idea, and they say, who thinks it's a good idea? And everybody's sort of like either too nice or too afraid to criticize, or maybe intimidated by this person in authority, and so they don't speak out. But what, when it really goes wrong is when one of these people is right, or when everybody's right, and they just are afraid to speak out. And then you have a situation where, weirdly, the majority of the individuals in the group know better, but the group makes a bad decision. So yeah, it is about an emergent group mind that maybe doesn't work as well as individuals would alone, which I take to be part of your question. Okay, so here are some symptoms of groupthink. Here's more symptoms of groupthink. Wonderful. Okay, perception of false consensus, where you think everybody agrees with the decision, so you don't speak up. You think essentially that you're in the Ash setting, right? Where everybody's saying that line matches that line, and you're like, well, that doesn't seem to be the case. But you shut up because you think everybody agrees at this point, and you want to fall in line. But what happens if everybody's kind of in that situation? If everybody, what if there aren't any Confederates essentially in the Ash study, or there's only one or two, and everybody's just falling in line, then you get this perception of false consensus. And we'll talk more about perceptions of false consensus when we talk about pluralistic ignorance and unpopular norms. Also, when there's pressure on dissenters, pressure is not to dissent, either because a group has really high solidarity, or for some reason really values unanimity or conformity. That pressure on dissenters will, undermine whistleblowing and dissent and lead to bad group level decision making, or it can at least. And then also self-appointed group protectors who insulate the group from criticism or dissent. And I don't know about you, but I'm thinking of people that I've known. I've been in groups where some people will always sort of jump up and be like, why are you criticizing the boss? Why are you? The boss is always right. You need to shut up with your criticism. Those people can be very disruptive for group functioning, right? Because what they do is they stifle dissent, they stifle skepticism, rather than mobilizing it so we can make better decisions. So here's some other possible examples that have been brought up in the groupthink literature. I'm not necessarily saying that all of these are examples of groupthink, but these are ones that people talk about. The failure to anticipate Pearl Harbor. A lot of people say we had the information. We actually had, I think, an intercept of a Japanese radio broadcast that suggested there might be an attack on Pearl Harbor on that day. What day was that? December 7th? 2nd? 3rd? 7th? Yeah, December 7th, 1941. All right, okay, we're good. Okay, December 7th, 1941, they had a radio intercept in the night before, or the day before, something like that, that suggested there might be this attack, and that the information just somehow didn't get mobilized into doing anything about it. And of course, there's these theories that FDR actually wanted us to get into World War II, so he sort of put a kibosh on responding to this information. Radical, crazy conspiracy theories. I don't necessarily endorse. The Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba. How many of you all know about the Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll cover it really quickly just for the benefit of those who don't. So the Bay of Pigs invasion in Cuba happened in 1961, in April of 1961, I think. It was John F. Kennedy had just taken over as president. He was only 3 months in, and the CIA asked him, hey, Eisenhower already okayed this plan for us to take a bunch of former Cuban guerrillas who we've trained, people who left Cuba after the Communist Revolution, who were pro-capitalist, pro-America. Eisenhower okayed the CIA plan to take them and train them to be guerrillas so that we can then land them in the Bay of Pigs for an invasion of Cuba that would hopefully spark and foment this anti-communist revolution, because these expatriates from Cuba believe strongly that, in fact, Cuba did not support this communist government that it had. And so Kennedy's like, all right, if it's okay by Eisenhower, I'll go along with it, I guess, but I don't want any open conflict with the Soviet Union. We need to keep this Cold War cold and fight it passively through satellite nations. And so that was one of the weird things about the Cold War was the U.S. and the Soviet Union were locked in a war for 30-some years, 40-some years, but it was never openly firing at one another. They would fight it through satellite countries. So the Soviet Union would fund a communist revolution in Vietnam, and then we would go to Vietnam and fight on behalf of the Vietnamese. And this led to all sorts of entanglements where the U.S. and Soviet Union are fighting in these countries. So Cuba was one of them, or was going to be one of them with the Bay of Pigs invasion. And so Kennedy's like, the thing I like about this plan is the part where we're not sending U.S. soldiers. They can't be pinned on us. We're not directly fighting the Soviet Union or communist countries. So I'll go along with it. So they go along with it, and in April of 1961, they land former Cuban citizens who were trained as guerrillas in the Bay of Pigs, and they're waiting for air support. They think that the U.S. Air Force is going to come and knock out tanks that are there to respond to the invasion. But Kennedy decides not to. He doesn't want a hot war. He doesn't want to spark international instability in the middle of the Cold War 3 months into his term as president. And so as a result of that, and just the fact that the whole invasion was incredibly poorly planned, the guerrillas did very poorly. They way overestimated the amount of anti-communist sentiment in Cuba. Nobody really rose up to overthrow the government at all, and it was just this huge groupthink example. Okay. In fact, Che Guevara sent a letter later to, I think, Kennedy via Dick Goodwin, one of his consultants, or one of his advisors, who's played by Rob Morrow in the film Quiz Show, and sent him this memo saying, hey, thanks a lot. You just totally galvanized solidarity behind the communist government in Cuba with this silly invasion that totally failed. This has been awesome for us. So the Bay of Pigs invasion failed at a number of levels. On the one hand, Kennedy probably should never have okayed it, since he was never really on board with it. He never really thought it was a good idea, and he wasn't willing to go all in. So they never really got the support that could have made it effective. But even if they had gotten the support, there's every reason to think they couldn't have sparked an anti-communist revolution in Cuba in 1961. The sentiment just wasn't there. They completely overestimated how much people didn't like communism. Why? Because they asked a bunch of people who didn't like communism who left Cuba for America. Very dumb. And then furthermore, there weren't enough guerrillas anyway to actually take control of Cuba, not even close. And so as a result, the Bay of Pigs invasion is often celebrated as, or is often identified as one of the great examples of groupthink. I'd say Bay of Pigs and the Challenger disaster are the big ones you hear the most about. Any questions? Okay, another example that's often cited is the persistence of the Vietnam War. The U.S. got further and further involved in the Vietnam War. We elected a president in 1968 who said he would reduce troops in Vietnam, who actually increased them. And the Vietnam War persisted for roughly 10 years, more than 10 years really, with a lot of people feeling like we were losing more than we were gaining, and it wasn't a very effective engagement, but feeling we were stuck in it. And a lot of people have theorized, how did we ever get there? And it's a complicated story of decision making by Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Robert McNamara, and a lot of people identify as